Welcome to the first edition, the video edition of Self-Proclaimed Expert. I'm your host, Matt Cook. Today, I'm going to be talking about a situation that I find myself in, and I wanted to make aware of it and raise as much awareness as possible. So the video we're looking at here is going down Jackson Trail. Jackson Trail is basically a one-lane road in Parker County located near Cross Timbers Elementary and located on the edge of Reno. So just a little bit of this road is technically Reno. The rest of it belongs to Parker County. So this is just going to play kind of in a loop, but me going down the road. And it's a tree-lined road. It's a beautiful road. It is a road made for country, rural traffic. It is not a city road. It is not prepared for traffic of more than what lives on the road. So we are here today because they want to do a planned development on the end of this road. And so I encourage you, if you've never been down Jackson Trail, drive down Jackson Trail and ask yourself, can a fire truck turn around on this road? Much less, what is it like when you meet an Amazon truck or some other big vehicle on this road? Do you have enough room to be on this road? So if they do this big development, we're talking about, I would say anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 cars a day. And this road is not prepared for that. And I'm trying to raise awareness. There's an upcoming meeting. We need everyone that can attend that meeting. It is Monday, September 8th, 7 p.m. Once again, Monday, September 8th, 7 p.m. There's going to be a meeting, and it would be really great if you could show up. And if you can't show up, please notify your local people on the council of Reno, or also let folks know, like Charlie Guerin. So Charlie Guerin is the one responsible for making a utility district here, and he enabled the water to be able to be produced for this. And so they went down to Austin, called a mud, and made a mud, and this mud is going to allow them to generate the water for the residents of this new place. So this is going to be fairly high density housing, where they're going to take 603 acres of the old Klaus place, and they're going to put 3 to 5 houses per acre on this development, which is quite a few people. And in years past, they were not able to secure the water. Well, now they've got the water secure. And so what I'm going to say is, rich people do rich people stuff, and they buy land and they develop it and they make money. And they clearly do what they want to do with little regard to what the rest of us want. So in little towns like Reno are desperate for money. They can, they just about went bankrupt. And so they struggle for money. And yeah, they want all of this to happen because it will keep their city afloat. And so that's what they want. All of these things are very difficult to fight. But if you will, please let as many people as you can know about this meeting, September 8th, 7 p.m. at Reno City Hall. And so I'm going to put a little banner up here. So if you can join that, that would be fantastic. So September 8th, Reno City Hall. We need you to be there to voice your concern, and please check out this road, and you'll see what we're talking about. You'll see that we're not crazy, that this road is not prepared for all that traffic. This road runs by Cross Timbers Elementary, which is very congested. This road also dumps out on 199. Also, as you know, very congested, and it's hard to turn left across there. When you add, say, 1,000 to 2,000 more cars here, this is going to be a real problem. And there are many of us that live on this road. We enjoy taking walks. We enjoy riding our bikes and coming down this road, and we do not feel safe with all of these people that they want to dump in here. And it will no longer be a safe little country lane that we feel comfortable with walking our family members. And much less, they're displacing a tremendous amount of wildlife, from turkeys to the deer. All of them are getting booted out of these woods, and we know where they're going to go. They're going to go eat our stuff. Not that they're not already, but it's definitely going to be a problem, and it's one that we don't want. And so, Mr. Developer, Mr. City of Reno, Mr. Mayor Hector Bass, please don't do this to us. This road is not made to do what you need it to do. We do not welcome it. We do not want you to do it. We are not happy about this. And we're just asking you to, at a bare minimum, only make this an emergency exit. That is something we could stomach. But if you have to make this a road, we want, and we are going to have a traffic study. We're going to have a wildlife study. We're going to have a stormwater survey, and I want a tree survey, because you're destroying old growth original Texas forest, and we're not getting that back. There won't be more of that. And yes, Mr. Developer Man, I appreciate you setting aside 200 acres of floodplain that you can't build in anyway. And I get it. You can't build it; it's useless to you. So make it a park, and it's a nice gesture. And I'm glad that you're doing it as a park. But we all know it's mostly because you can't build a house there, or you would. So we just ask you to leave us alone on Jackson Trail. Find a different exit point. We do not support this. This road is not ready for it, and we just ask you to share this far and wide with everybody that you can. The second part of what I want to do in this video is I do want to discuss something with you that I think is very important. So I'm going to switch over to something else if I can here. So I'm going to scroll through this article, and hopefully bear with me as I try to make this a little bit bigger here. So, all right. So this comes from an article that I recently found. And this is somebody that is in the business of selling something, but I thought it was interesting. So they're talking about how American farmland is disappearing. And so this is from Grassroots. It's a farmers co-op. And so they write this little article, and it says, America is facing a crisis that threatens the very foundation of our food system. With over 40% of farmland owned by folks over 65, we're witnessing the largest agricultural land transfer in our nation's history. In the next 10 years, half of America's farmland will change hands. But instead of passing to young farmers, this precious resource is being snatched up by corporations, billionaires, and foreign investors who see land as nothing but dollar signs. When Andrea and I started nearly two decades ago, buying farmland felt as out of reach as catching a grease pig in the country fair. We scraped by only because a retiring farmer took a chance on us. So they go on to describe what they do. So we know that we're losing farmland. Something else that I want to share with you is I found this is an interesting article. So this can be found. This is a PDF that I found from the American Farmland and Trust, Farms Under Threat, the State of the States. And so this is put together by Friedgood, Hunter, Dempsey, and Sorensen. And I appreciate their work. And so they show you developments. And this is clearly areas that once was farmland, clearly not Texas. I wish that Texas looked like that, but it doesn't. So so they go on and acknowledge, and I'm going to put a link to this, but it kind of shows you a little bit about them. I'm going to skip on down to page 14, where you see these 21st century threats, or so I thought I was. So, as we know, farmland is shrinking. So less and less farmland through the ages, and this kind of gives you a timeline of what's happened in the United States over the last few years. But the amount of farmland is greatly reduced every year, and we're not getting this back. So, and here are some of the threats from the 21st century. So, the less farmland we have, the less food security we have. And this current property that we're talking about on Jackson Trail has been a ranch, homestead, agricultural based piece of property since it was homesteaded out. And so so there are trees on this property that are original species that are, 200 years old. And we're going to lose all this character. They're going to bulldoze every one of these trees, and except for the little park that they're going to do, and they're going to start over. This land has a couple of big ravines in it, and there's going to be a tremendous amount of stormwater runoff. For every square feet of concrete they pour, you can count on extra water runoff that's going to happen. And if you live near it, it's running off to you. So But anyway, I want you to take a look at these articles, just explaining how um, farmland has been shrinking across the United States, and it's a sad thing. It's a very sad thing, and we're just not getting it back. And so there's this big land transfer that's happening, and so that happened over there at the Klaus place. So the original folks who owned it, they sold it, and some other people used it for a hunting lease for a while, and now they've decided that they want to develop it. None of them live near here. So, by the way, so most of the people that have made this decision, they live far away, and I guarantee you, if most of these folks have a fancy house somewhere out in the country, a second house, and they would fight tooth and nail if somebody tried to do a development on them near their property. That's true. So, so they don't want it either next to them, but they're fine doing it next to you and I because it doesn't affect them. They just put money in their pocket and laugh all the way to the bank at our expense. And I've been out canvassing Jackson Trail, and so as I walk Jackson Trail, I have been handing flyers out to everybody I could meet, and also on Kerry Lane. Not one single person has told me, "Hey, Matt, I really think this is a good idea, and I think you're crazy." Everyone is like, "No, we can't have this extra traffic. It's not safe for the school. It's not safe for our families." So, anyway, let me get back to this. So here's another article that I found. This is by the University of Delaware that says our incredibly vanishing farmland. And so this was published in 2021, and it says we lose 3 acres of farmland in the United States every minute. You read that right. 3 acres every 60 seconds. This wake up call comes courtesy of John P., president of the American Farmland Trust, AFT, who spoke about the conversation and farmland at the 2019 Trust in Food Symposium, January 15th and 16th in Chicago. Over the last 20 years, we've lost 31 million acres of farmland. That's the equivalent to all the farmland in Iowa. That's 1.5 million acres a year, or 3 acres a minute. This loss in farmland is roughly twice what anyone thought it was because previous estimates ignored low-density rural development. What's even more frightening, Mr. P says, is the fact that we're losing our best land fastest. And he goes on here, but I don't want to bore you with the details. But if you want more information, I will post this in the description of this video. The next one that I wanted to make you aware of is another PDF, and this is put out. This is an article, U.S. Farmland Under Threat of Urbanization, Future Development Scenarios to 2040. And so it tells you the people who did this one, their name is on here, and this is Landscapes and Sustainable Farming. And so that's probably sponsored by MDPI, whoever that is. So, and so this is the Nelson Institute Center of Sustainability and Global Environmental, University of Wisconsin-Madison. It goes on and on to all these people. So these people worked on looking at how the earth and specifically how this farmland is becoming urbanized. And that is what we're talking about here on Jackson Trail, our very own Jackson Trail. This is happening to us. And so they're trying to take agricultural farmland and they want to urbanize it at our expense. And what we do is we lose the ability to have wildlife buffers. We lose the ability to produce beef. Traditionally, this piece of land has produced a lot of beef cattle, and we've got a lot of mouths to feed here in the DFW Metroplex. And so we need farmland. We don't need to destroy all the farmland. And so, these are really telling images when you look at infrared imaging and you can see how the farmland has changed over the years. And so as they continue to do more and more developments, you can look at all these before and afters of even here in the Metroplex of how much it's changed. If you've lived here any length of time, you have seen a tremendous amount of changes in our city, from the Fort Worth area to DFW as a whole. It is the density of people is so much greater. So these are population density maps. The other thing we lose is night sky. The more people we move out here, the less we see the stars, the less we see the moon, the less, our children can remember and our grandchildren can remember a day when they could see the stars at night. And so don't you want to live in a community where you can see the stars at night and have fresh air, feel safe to walk down the road, feel safe for your children to walk down the road, grandchildren to walk down the road, and not fear that you're going to be ran over? We all do. And so, but at the same time, we all support, and people want to have the American dream, and we're all about that. We've got freedom to do lots of things here, but our problem with it is it's an infringement upon our freedom and our rights living on this road, and we do not feel it's safe and do not welcome these changes. Could you do this differently? Yeah, you could do bigger houses, bigger lots, and do less people, and that would help a lot. And maybe make it gated, maybe up your price. Let's do houses that start at 800,000 and go to 2 million. That would be a much better model. And Mr. Builderman, why don't you do that? I'm pretty sure you were part of some other big developments around here where you've done that. And so we'd like to see you do that. Why not consider doing that? And so that would be a great benefit. A bigger, it would help property taxes. It definitely would help the school. The schools definitely have an interest in pursuing that over the little cookie cutter homes that you want to do. So anyway, it's a free country. You guys do what you want to do. But as for me and my house, we're going to be at this meeting September 8th, 7 p.m., Reno City Hall. We encourage everybody that can be there, please be there. Let your voice be known. And if you can't be there, please go to the website link that I have in the description. Email those email those Reno City Hall folks, the mayor, let them know you don't like this. And by the way, email Charlie Guerin, who's done a lot of good things for our community, but he did authorize this mud. And I think you should let him know, hey man, I don't appreciate you doing that and changing the rule setting of North Texas and making us more urbanized than ever. So please let your voice be heard. Please help us try to turn this tide. And we encourage the developers, the city, please do not use Jackson Trail. Find an alternate route and, just use this as an emergency exit. But if you have to use it, we're going to need a big sidewalk and we're going to need some things to keep us safe from all the crazy people. And I don't know how you're going to make this road wider and how you're going to do that without taking people's property along the edges here and taking out all the trees that are on this road. And this is one of the, and I get why you want to take people down this road because it's a nice drive in to this community, but we don't want you to do it. And we are not with you on this and we stand against this. So please reconsider your actions and spread this far and wide. If you have social media, please post this on social media, share it with anybody that you think might be interested, anybody that you might have an influence. By the way, we are looking for people that you might know at Cross Timbers Elementary. I believe Shelly Wins is the principal there. If you know Shelly, please make sure she's aware of these changes because it will affect her life and the safety of these children at that school, as well as TxDOT and the safety of people who turn left there on 199. And I really worry about all the first-time drivers that we have that come through there just learning how to drive. And that's a terribly dangerous intersection as it is. And then add 1,000 more cars a day, and it's not a good thing. So I appreciate your time in this. Please check out the links. Please check out that website that we made. And please support the cause. September 8th, 7 p.m., Reno City Hall. See you there.